Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome to Train Frontier Classic. It's Boxing Day here in the UK. For Americans, Boxing Day is our word for December 26th. It's a bank holiday over here in Britain, so everyone gets it off, so basically it's the day where you get to play with all of your new shiny toys. And that's pretty much what Train Frontier Classic is. Train Frontier Classic, which as I understand it, is like a remake, port, whatever, of Train Frontier Express, which was an indie game on the Xbox 360, I believe, which is why you may notice down in the settings there, it says adjust sound and rumble. Yeah, it also still works with a controller. It was clearly originally built for a controller, which is kind of odd, but there you go. But yes, it was kind of like a little train set. It's not really a tycoon game. There's not really much in the way of a quest or an objective or anything. It's just literally a massive train set you get to play with. I like that idea. I like train sets. Let's dive into this. So welcome to the world as it is. This is basically a little play area, which I assume is surrounded by these here mountains. So basically you've just got a great big play area here, and inside this play area, you can basically just lay as much track and also other stuff as you want, because it's not just about track, it's also about terrain building and laying props down. So basically, as far as I can tell, there's no actual like plot or story or quest or objective or anything here, aside from what you choose to assign to it. Now, I'm actually pretty fine with that, because let me give you a little kind of privileged peek into my childhood. I loved basically things like Lego and Kinects when I was a child, and I loved basically building them all together into big towns. I'd like take all my new Christmas presents and all my old toys, and I'd mix them together, and I'd build towns on my bedroom floor, which would have like transport infrastructure and a big like central town hall and housing and all these different buildings and building blocks and the Lego and the Kinects and everything would come together, and I'd make a big town with them. It's my favourite thing in the world to do. So as it's Boxing Day, this struck me as an excellent thing to do today. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. No tracks just yet. Instead, I need to figure out how everything is going to be. So instead, let's start off by actually doing some, hang on, I think it's shift to, yeah, fine. So shift 1, 2, 3 to go between tracks, terrain, and props, and then once you're actually there, using 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think I accidentally laid a thing there. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Change between place, delete, undo, and redo. But yeah, you can really see the Xbox 360 kind of origins there, because it literally matches the colours of what would have been A, B, Y, and X. But let's go over to raise here, because what I kind of want to do is I just want to make like... yeah, I want to make a little town, but I want to make a town that's not just on a flat. I want to make kind of like a town in the mountains. So let's just kind of basically raise some stuff up here. This is quite a nice little feature. If you kind of toggle the view, you can go into a big kind of overview so you can see the squares more clearly. But you still get little, you know, what it will look like when you go out of this view down the bottom right. I quite like that. Unfortunately, there's no actual, like, big, like, area thing. You can't give yourself a bigger brush. As far as I can tell, you're just stuck with, like, this one brush that's actually fairly on the small side. So making big changes like creating, like, a massive valley or a massive mountain range would actually take quite a bit of time to do. Though possibly the easiest way to do it is just to take a single point and convert that into a massive flipping mountain, and that will just raise the area around it. Yeah, that'll do. Apparently that's the highest point we can go to. Marvellous. Now, let's make another one of them. Okay, possibly this may have been a bit too steep. Okay, fine. I've discovered a much easier way to create the land that you actually want if you want it to be raised. Yeah, just basically use the flatten tool, go onto a bit of high ground, and then just basically shuffle it out into thin air, and that basically just raises the land up to the level you want it to be. And that's much flipping easier, yes. So I've just created a bit of like a hilly top bit right now. It's just a nice big flat on top of a hill here, and then just some nice slopes up and down it, and then that just kind of leads into more mountains over here. Some of those trees don't really work anymore, however. Let's just quickly put this into delete mode and kind of select any of the trees I don't think actually look like they suit, mainly because some of them are just kind of floating in mid-air, because they just kind of got raised up with the scenery. Most of that's okay though. Fine. Back over to terrain here. And yeah, let's actually paint some of this and paint it a bit snowy. So let's just make the tops of the mountains nice and snowy, because that's lovely. There we are. This is going to be a nice little mountain town. Just a little bit of snow dotted around the outside. That's all nice. There's also a bit of snow down there, because the snow just leaked or something. Or we can just paint the snow green and everything's fine. Lovely. See, what I want to have up here is like a little raised village. This is just going to be the lovely picturesque area where everyone actually lives. So, let's go over to, actually, you know what? Let's actually start off with some tracks at this point. It's probably a good idea to actually start off with some tracks. then we can actually lay a train station. So what are we going to do with the tracks here? So I kind of see it being, yeah, there's like a bit of a down over here, then there can be another like gentle up and down right here. That's good. And then we're just going to need a train station somewhere in the town, then just the track kind of going straight through it. That'll flipping do, yes. And then we just have the tracks going through here and straight over here. And they can go straight off the edge if that's what you want to do. But also we probably want to... No, I don't want to actually lower that. You can just like, yeah, just get that right to where I want to go. Back over to here. And then the train's just... No, you probably shouldn't go yet. To be honest, it's... Okay, you set off prematurely and that was your own damn fault. So now we can just, yeah, get this so it's still like up and about here and then just select. The controls are a little bit awkward, I'll admit. They're more than a little bit awkward, and then we'll just make that go down a little bit here. And tap 3 to move on to the next bit, and 3 to move on to the next bit as well. And all of this just basically needs to go down. Ideally, like, you know, nice and gently. And then we'll just have a little bit more going down here. I'm going to be honest, this is very flipping fiddly to do. Because you have to lay something, and then you need to use, like, the raise and lower tools to actually set it up after that point. Then you tap 1 to lay again. Then you need to, like, lower that. So probably need, like, a tunnel there, to be honest. Then you tap 1 to lay, and then go back to 5 and 6 to actually make it raise and lower. Like, you could really feel this was originally made for a console, rather than actually for PC. You really, really can. Just ever so slightly. Okay, hang on. Now you need to go back over to 3 in order to select this bit, to raise that, to actually get it out of the ground. Right, then tap 3 again to move it forward. Then you can lay, but then you've got to actually lower it down onto the ground properly, and keep going. And there we are. We've actually managed to flipping get that onto the ground. Good. Good, 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 good. Now deselect, and then come out of this mode, and now I need to fix this all up. How are you doing, by the way? Let's just check you can actually... Yeah, you can make it back there. The test train basically is just going to keep going around that loop forever and probably crashing. And that's all absolutely flipping fine. Are these two tracks even... Those two tracks aren't even linked. Why are those two tracks not linked? I feel like those two tracks should be linked. So what I've learned is track is aggressively directional, which is once you've started laying track going in this direction, all you can create is spurs going off it. As far as I can tell, you can't even basically lay it then going backwards. You've got to keep laying it forwards. There's probably a philosophical message in there somewhere, so that's fine. It's all going to have to be one track if I want it to interact, I suppose. Okay, I might be able to fix this by actually having 2 different spurs of track, starting over here, like this can be where the train depot is, going to here, and then going to here. But then this spur can't join up to... Okay, possibly we need to go back and take this back to planning stage. So, I've finished my little first circuit here. So what we got is, yeah, we've got the space where the village is going to be, and then the train just comes down here onto the lovely open plain. Alright, that's lovely. And then it's just basically just gonna come along here. There we go, that's nice. It's just gonna chug along there. Then it's gonna stop because it's run by Southwest Trains, so there's some things you just can't avoid. Then it's going to loop round here to the beach resort, and there's going to be a stop so everyone can get off and they can actually go to the beach and enjoy the lake. And there we go, the train's actually bloody running again, which is nice. And then once they're done, they can just hop back on the train. And okay, that rail's slightly a little bit on the sunk side, hang on. There we go, got that just a little bit higher up, that's fine. And... you as well. There we go. Lovely. So that's all absolutely fine. 100% fine. Everything's fine. So then once they're done that, they get back on here. They go through here. And then they go through the really cool spooky tunnel. And through the spooky tunnel, I'll have to tidy that up a bit in a second. And then they get back up to town here. The town that doesn't exist yet, but that's what we're going to be working on now. Now here's a fascinating thing about the props. If you've just deleted something because you don't like it, then if you literally tap the shortcut that puts you back into place mode, which is on a 1, it just auto-places whatever you happen to have set at that point, which is very, very bloody inconvenient because you might actually want that. Whereas if you actually go and click on place, then that doesn't happen anymore, and the whole thing actually works properly. So, yeah, you've kind of got this slightly odd situation where you don't want to use the shortcuts, because that actually is a worse experience than just manually clicking on everything. Yeah, this game is slightly suffering from its Xbox 360 origins, I think. Here's a good starting point. Some tunnel caps to make the tunnels look a bit less scruffy. Not much less scruffy, but it's still better than it was, yes. Luckily, buildings being kind of double stacked in on top of each other is fine, so I'm just going to use basically like a slightly doubled up mansion as a train station. A really fancy train. Yeah, that'll do. That works as a train station. And then underneath that, we can just slip down, yeah, some basic pavement at the end of a road to act as a platform. Good. Now, just to make this thing look a little bit more platformy. More slight problems, nothing actually clicks together. There's not actually a proper snap function. So while they kind of vaguely go next to each other, even though like that feels like that should be snapped, right? The game is vaguely implying, yeah, that's snapped together. No, anything at a rough diagonal leads to horrible, horrible jaggies. You've just got to kind of do everything perfectly straight, otherwise the game doesn't like it. So I've kind of built one side of town here. I feel pretty happy with this. So what we've got is, yeah, we've got the train station here, and people can come up and they can park in the train station, and this guy's just, you know, he's parked a bit rudely, but he's just unloading some supplies. That's fine. The train station itself actually has, yeah, it's got a little platform, and it's got some signals, and it's got, you know, an actual railway. You know where the train is. The train's just naffed off somewhere. That's fine. And there's some nice, you know, safety fencing around the outside, so that's good as well. And then to avoid the ugliness of, yeah, the diagonal road, because the track's a bit diagonal, in order to get over the track, you actually go over the overpass. And that leads you into the business district that I've set up over here, which is just flipping lovely. So you come into the business district around here, and you've got actual designated parking. There's the train's right there, lovely. So you've got designated parking right over here, which is beautiful, and then all these lovely office jobs. There's a nice park in the middle. There's a lovely park there. There's someone just kind of coming to work right now. There's parks around here, so you can like have your lunch in the green. There's all these different big office buildings. There's lovely, lovely variety of jobs. And best of all, down in the park, we've actually got Bruce here. Now, Bruce's job is to make sure that everyone's having a lovely, lovely time. So as long as everyone's having a lovely time, Bruce is happy and everything's absolutely okay. So that's the business district. I'm pretty happy with that. And meanwhile, on the far side of town, now I've just built a little residential area over here. So we've got ourselves just, yep, the nice little kind of city hall here, and a bunch of nice, lovely little pastel-coloured houses. And everyone's got a car, a little space to kind of park their car on the side of the house. Beautiful views. Beautiful views down into the valley. And yep, the city hall right here just to make sure everything keeps running smoothly. And someone even built a snowman up in the mountains climbing the hill. Oh, those pesky kids, eh? You know what, let's just do a full tour, because you're on to just kind of, you know, get down on the ground and just experience life as one of the citizens. So, here we are. It's the end of a busy working day over at my glorious utopian job in the printing company, or whatever it is I do. And I have stopped, obviously. There's Bruce. So, nice and slowly obey the speed limit. Of course, we drive on the left here, so that's absolutely fine. And now we just leave the business district. And there's another Bruce. Kind of like the Bruces that... Oh, that guy's driving on the... Oh, no wonder the Bruces are moving in. And there's a couple more Bruces waiting to just greet us as we come home. Past City Hall, of course. Lovely. Just avoid this little traffic jam. And finally, make it home where I can just park next to one of the Bruces. That's fine. This will be my house right here. And yeah, I'd say that there is a nice day. A nice short commute. We've got City Hall just right flipping there. So, you know, if we've ever got any questions, or we want to go to the weekly debate, or we want to hear how the monitoring's going, then we can just ask. We can just go there, and it's right flipping there. That's just flipping lovely. But really, 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 it's all about the train, isn't it? So let's just head over to the train station that I haven't managed to get quite flat, unfortunately. That's really fiddly to do. And just park up here, and it's time to go and catch the train. It's a beautiful train station. It's an absolutely beautiful flipping train station. I mean, it's a marvel we can actually afford to pay for it, given how small the industry around these parts is. But you know what? Maybe we just don't ask questions, and the Bruces don't come and visit us in the night. So here we are, just one of our lovely industrial trains, very useful for pulling the carts and whatever. So let's just now take a little tour. So now we just gently throttle up, and we can just enjoy a nice day out going to the beach. So we want to go down to the slope here. We want to make sure we apply the brakes as we go down the steep bit, otherwise we will crash and die. Arguably, safety is not like, you know, the best thing in the world, but that's absolutely fine. And now we're safely down, we can just apply a bit more throttle. Sure, you can drive the trains if you want. It's very nice and relaxing to just drive all of the trains. So there we go. out here to beautiful, beautiful open countryside. It's just a lovely, lovely day out. Lovely day out indeed. Slow things down a little bit. We're not in a flipping rush. We're in no rush. And now here we are. We're now entering Advertising Alley, where we can actually go and have a look-see at absolutely all of the different things. I'll just ignore that there. And we've got Rover, Guard Dog. Oh, yes. Oh, that smile. Oh, hang on. You're supposed to brake. You're supposed to be braking. Oh, we're probably going to miss that flipping. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just we'll go into reverse. And we'll just slightly throttle backwards. Don't miss the flipping beach stop. Very, very important indeed. Right, there we go. So, now we've reached the beach station. And once you get here, you can enjoy a nice day out at the beach. And look at that. There's even, like, convenient fencing to make sure you don't get lost on the way to the beach. Head down over here. Couple of Brucers just to actually welcome you to this whole area. There's the water there. Beautiful, clear and shimmering water. Some lovely changing rooms. So if you want to, you can change into your bathing costume just in privacy before you actually head down to the water. And there we go. And if you run into any trouble, don't you worry. There are Bruce lifeguards actually in attendance. It's not too surprising actually. This is where the Brucers come from. We don't know exactly where or how, but, you know, basically the sun goes down and when it comes back up again, there's more Brucers in the forest, which is fine. Which is fine, because Brucers are good. Brucers are good. We absolutely think that the Brucers are good, because then they don't come for us. And then you don't get sent to Coal Town. Sorry, there's no Coal Town. There's no Coal Town. Okay, nobody gets sent to. There's no such thing as Coal Town. Actually, no one would get sent there. Because let's just get back on the train. Let's get back on the train. Because I think there's normally quite a few Brucers, but that's more Brucers than I was expecting. Actually, were those two always there? I think let's just get back on the train. I've got bad news. The train has sort of left without us, which is unfortunate. Because the lights are starting to fade, and the Brucers are gathering. Now, normally they don't attack while it's light out, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. The Brucers are fine. Hi, Bruce. It's more they're everywhere. They're on every side. This is fine. This is. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I think you get the point, and I'm quite happy here, because I always wanted to be a Bruce. Everybody wants to be a Bruce, which is good, because everyone, in the end, always becomes a Bruce. So, this here is Train Frontier Classic. It's just a little toy box that lets you build a little town, and everything is fine. Everything is fine in the town. Everything is fine. Especially now I'm one of the Brucers. Link in the description below to this, if this is your sort of thing. It certainly shows its age and some of the compromises and problems that come from it originally being on the Xbox 360. Arguably, a bit more effort could have been actually put into the port, but you know what? Maybe some of you just fancy a great big train kit, in which case this might be of interest to some of you. And I will leave things off here as I feel my legs getting slowly heavier and I realise that I can no longer move. But that's fine. That's fine. I'm sure we'll be back sooner or later, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Train Frontier Classic. Thank you very much, and goodbye. This is the face of death, okay? This is what my sudden death looks like. Do not engage before we arrive. Do not engage. What are you doing? I specifically said don't. Oh, no.
No, John.
Oh, he likes that. The Romans touched me.